So welcome again. Good day to you all. Thank you for taking time and joining our lecture session. I hope everyone is well and safe. And before I begin the session, I'm going to briefly introduce myself, give you some background information about who I am and what I do on a daily basis. As you know, my name is Sam. I'm a lecturer at the Department of Strategy and Marketing at Sussex Business School. I'm also the admission tutor for the same department, and I also have a role as a deputy course director for International Marketing degree distance learning course. Before I joined Sussex as a faculty, I worked in various marketing jobs for several years, and before that, I used to be a student at the University of Sussex. In fact, the last 15 years of my life has been very much focused on students and education, in the form of being a student myself, working as a safeguarding lead, looking after student welfare and well-being, and of course, offering teaching from time to time before I joined the university as a full-time faculty member. You might be asking why I'm joining you from home. This is the reading week. This is the time that students have off. They're not going to go travel, but they are given with the specific time during a semester to catch up with anything that they has formed some sort of backlog for them, and for us to reflect on what have been doing during the first part of the semester. Now, as you know, our session today is a taster lecture. At Sussex, you get to sit on lectures on weekly basis, and these are sessions with very limited interactivity as you're being presented with a topic. Lectures usually run in a large room, and you will find a great number of students sitting with you in the same room, sometimes up to 700 students, depending on the module, sitting on one lecture. Students also have to attend workshops and seminars on a weekly basis, and these are smaller sessions, if you like, usually with student numbers around 25 to 55 students. During these sessions, students practice what they have learned from the lecture. There are teamwork tasks that students have to complete, presentations, case studies, and many other activities in the workshop and seminar. And these will provide you with an opportunity to interact with your tutors and fully understand the application of the models and theories by practicing them. So our lecture today is divided into 4 parts, as you see on the screen. In the first part, we will look at advertising and communication on the internet mainly. In the second part, we look at social media and some of the techniques used on social media to interact with the users. In part 3, we will briefly look at viral marketing and buzz creation concepts and techniques. And the final part of our lecture is a competition. I'm expecting this session to last for about 1 hour. And please do post your questions to the chat box. I will respond to them at the end of the session. Now, I would like to start the session with an activity to see who is still awake, who is still with us, and who's already left. So you can see there is a number that you can send a text to. So basically what you have to do is to text the word SAM-A912 to the phone number that you see from your mobile. Then you will get a confirmation that you have joined the session. Then you can start sending your answers, or you can go to poolf.com / SAM-A912 and send your answers. And the question I have for you is that, what is marketing? Can you say what is marketing in 1 or 2 words? So I'm going to give you some time to see if we can get any sort of response from the participants. I can see some people have raised hand. If you're joining us from outside UK, you just need to add a 0044 to that number. It might be easier to do this through the website address that you see on the screen. So you text the word SAM-A912 to the phone number that you see on the screen if you're in the UK. And once you receive a confirmation that you have joined the session, you start sending your text in the same way You don't need to add anything else. You just send your answers. Okay. Value. Excellent. To create something that is interesting. Let's see if we can get more. Value creation, awareness, that is absolutely important. That is one of the main roles of marketing. Good. Promotion. Brilliant. I can see lots and lots of answers coming in. Consumer, that is really important. So the person who said consumer, they are very much consumer focused in their way of thinking. You would make a good marketeer in the future. So we can see the word promoting has been sent many times. So people think promotion and awareness are the main elements of marketing. Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's move on. So if you want to define marketing, marketing in its nature is a management process, as you see on the screen. And within this process, we identify and we start anticipating. So you have to guess to some extent how to satisfy the consumers. So you identify your consumers, understand who is your consumer in the market, and then you anticipate their needs and requirements, and you try to satisfy those needs in a profitable way. So as I said, in the nature, your role would be to manage these whole kind of activities altogether. Now, if you want to look at digital marketing, it's basically achieving marketing objectives through application of digital technology. So you're going to do still management. You have to look at a management process, but you would have to incorporate a lot of digital technologies when we're talking about digital marketing in order to reach your consumers, in order to reach your target audience through these different digital channels and different digital medias. So why digital marketing? Why do we need to bother with it at all? We know that advertising landscape has been shifting for the last couple of years. Traditional platforms such as television advertising are still going strong, but digital advertising has found a lot of interest by marketeers as well as consumers. For marketeers, it is way cheaper to run digital advertising campaigns, and it also enables them to gauge the success of various activities. They would know what post consumers looked at, which one they interacted with, and if the intention leads to some sort of purchase decision, they would know it. Those interactions that is taking place on digital platforms can often lead to a purchase decision. This is something that we found to be very difficult with traditional media and advertising channels. It's going to be very difficult to gauge interaction from your target audience on traditional media. From the consumer point of view now, digital advertising has made it easier to find further information if you're interested in something. Make a purchase, you just use your phone. And in some cases, to avoid seeing advertising altogether with the use of technology, you might want to use AdBlock to get rid of those annoying adverts from time to time. And we see the evidence of this argument on this slide with the amount of investment that has been made in digital advertising in the last couple of years and how it is anticipated going forward in the same field. This is also evident from the second fun fact that you see here on this slide, because digital possibilities helping the sales to also pick up, as providers have a kind of a wider reach and easier reach to the client around the globe, and they can meet their target numbers far easier compared to traditional methods. We see on the third point that mobile phones play a big role in digital marketing. If you compare the latest model of iPhone, I don't know, iPhone 13 with first iPhone or second iPhone, advancement on the phone technology has enabled almost half of the population of the Earth to use social media on a daily basis, as it says on the first fun fact that you see on this slide. In the last 3 points you see on this screen, we see how businesses are benefiting from the use of digital technology as they gain a healthy return on their marketing activities investment. Now, in the future, if you are a marketeer and you put forward a proposal to your finance director, once you secure that budget for your activities, you want to be able to get back to the finance director, your manager, and show them that the activities that you've run are well rewarded. And this is achievable through digital marketing. And as we see, brands like Gymshark in the UK, they've gone from an idea to $1 million business within a decade, mainly by focusing on digital media and advertising. But it is not all good and easy. As a business, you need to accumulate a thorough, reliable knowledge to work your way up and through profits. Using these digital media channels and advertising. And the figure on this slide show you how many are still getting it wrong and wasting their resources on digital channels that are not in line with the consumer's need, preferences, and expectations. And to understand why this happens, we have to take a step back and look at the basics of the communication. Now, we all know that marketing is a science of understanding consumer needs and communicating with them to satisfy such needs at the right time, at the right place, and in the most convenient way for consumers. So it is important for us to understand how communication works. And what you see here is a linear model of communication. We have two separate realms of understanding, if you like, and they are kind of different due to encoding and decoding abilities of the sender and the receiver. So on one side, you have the sender. On the other side, you have the receivers. So this is how it works. Messages are created by the source, in our case, businesses, and encoded to suit the receiver's decoding ability. In our case, the receivers are customers. So the receiver decode a message and attempt to comprehend it, to understand it. And most of the miscommunication can happen at this stage. You all have seen the adverts, some of the adverts that make no sense to you whatsoever, and you make no connection with them. This is due to the lack of alignment of the decoding and encoding abilities between the sender and the receiver of the advert and the message and the signal. How we can get the alignment right? By research and study of consumers, of course. Therefore, if you know your customers well, if you know what is it that they need, you can design a suitable signal or a message for them. You see, this message needs to be of interest to the receivers, and customers need to have an interest to pay attention to it. Now let's try and answer a question on the screen. I'm going to just start a poll, and you would see a question on the screen, and I would like you to read this and provide us with an answer. And the question is, what is noise in marketing? Good, I can see the answers are coming in. Give you a couple of more seconds. We have 14 responses. Let's say another 10 seconds for you to provide us an answer with. Just give it a try. Even if you don't know the answer, just give it a try. Okay, let's end this poll and let me share the result with you. You should be able to see the results. It's good to see that many people said amount of information presented to consumers. So the correct answer here is option C, amount of information presented to consumers. And in answering the question, what is noise, is basically the key challenges for most brands and marketeers. If you imagine we are bombarded with the advertisements on a daily basis, every business is trying to send you a message and to convince you to make a purchase from them. So let me just stop sharing this and close the poll. So we have a clutter of messages if you think about it. And it would be down to the businesses, it would be down to the marketeers to find the right time, the right message, and the right channel to get their voice heard by you as consumers in a very creative way. If there is no creativity, it's likely that you don't pay attention to what they are trying to say to you. Now let's look at some of the digital channels and medias used by businesses. If you have any sort of interest in becoming a marketeer in the future, you are expected to be familiar with such channels in reaching your current and potential consumers. So we know technology has changed the way we communicate, the time we spend, the way we liaise, and even the language we use in our communication has changed, specifically in the last decade or so. It has changed the way marketeers also operate and advertise, and certainly has provided us with a kind of a range of better possibilities in reaching out our target audience and measuring the impact of our communication on them. There is a range of various channels and medias available, as you see on this slide here, to advertise on. And these channels have gained a lot of importance, especially after the start of the pandemic. And bear in mind, we don't advertise, we don't communicate to just create sales. That is not our sole purpose. Yes, the ultimate goal for any business, for any company, is to create a sale. But advertisement is used for many other reasons as well. Sometimes you just want to communicate with an audience and provide them with information to create awareness, one of the keywords that we see in the first activity during this session. In other occasions, the audience can be your own employees. Maybe you're advertising to send them a message, to provide them with reassurance or remind them of something. In other occasions, you advertise to make a statement about your brand and your firm to the wider public, to the society. You might want to change people's perception about your brand and change your position in the mind of consumers through advertisement and advertising. So as a marketeer, we have to be mindful of why we advertise in the first place before choosing a channel and a format for our advertisement. Now we will go through these channels that you see on the screen, and I will show you an example for each one of them. And the oldest of these channels is a company website, of course, which is very good for raising your profile, building a profile for your business. When I say profile is one of the P's in a 3P strategy model. This model refers to three different strategies: pull, push, and profile. And I'm going to focus very much on profile here, through which businesses target audiences. I'm not going to be talking about pull and push, but with profile, you are aiming to create awareness and to communicate with your audience through your website, with your visitors, if you like. Given the growing importance of social responsibility, ethics, and sustainability, having an informative website is now crucial for any businesses, as it can be a medium through which you update your visitors, you provide them with information, you tell them about your good deeds, your care for stakeholders, your care for environment, and so many other things. Moreover, the company website can show the product and services that you offer. It can provide financial information and information relevant to shareholders. We have seen this with the start of the pandemic, that company websites are being used to provide announcements on their approach to COVID-19. As you see here with the example of Sainsbury's supermarkets in the UK and how they communicated, trying to communicate with their target audience. What is a good website? You would want your website to offer a way of transaction exchange. In other words, you want your website to offer online sales. At least in most cases, this is the idea. Your website should provide your consumers with an opportunity to purchase. But there are exceptions to this, such as government websites that are solely used to provide information to the population. You can design your website to link with your other marketing communication activities as well. For example, if you are sponsoring an event and during that event, your staff are handing out flyers, your website address on the flyer could lead your potential consumers to a place where they can learn more about your market offer, perhaps through more advertisement, text, images, and customers can then make a purchase decision on your website. Now, a website should be user-friendly and easy to navigate above all. People are impatient. We have less concentration and time than we used to have in the past. And each generation seems to go slightly more impatient as our life is becoming busier on a daily basis as the days goes by. And we don't have time to wait for anything, if you like. So if your website doesn't offer a straightforward path to where consumers aiming to get to, if they have to wait for a long time for your website to load, and there's too much content and information on one page, you simply are going to lose your customers to your competitors. It's a fact. It is also important for a website to appear in the search results and being viewed by consumers. And for that, we use search engine optimization. There are other techniques, but the best known of these techniques is search engine optimization. You probably have heard about Google AdWords, and this is the way Google advertising system works, in which advertisers bid for certain keywords in order for their clickable ads to appear on Google search results. So since advertisers have to pay for these clicks, then this is how Google makes money from the web searches. The result is that every time you search for something on Google, you search something using a Google browser, the first couple of links appear with the words sponsored next to them. Proficient web users usually avoid these links, but majority of people would click on them because they are on the top of the list. It's more convenient for them to just get their information through that link. I'm sure you have also noticed banner ads when you browse the internet. They appear on the screen and they can lead you to a different landing page where more advertisement, more information, more content is going to be available to you. Here, basically, you see a YouTube video and you can see the banner ad from the Euro car parts at the bottom of the screen. Of course, your interaction with the banner depends on how much you pay attention to these adverts and how smart the marketeer have been in designing them to encourage you to click on these banner ads. For me, in most cases, I would click on the X and close the banner ads, unfortunately, because I don't see much creativity in them. The other media used often within websites is a microsite. These are like an offshoot of your main website, but microsites often has its own kind of color scheme, different layout for you to be able to differentiate it from the main website of a company. And they serve a specific purpose, as you see from the two examples on the screen here. The purpose of Spotify homepage is to sell their services to you, as you know. However, their microsites serve a different purpose than sales, mainly to provide consumers satisfaction and to add value to the brand. It is designed in a way to feature data that will increase user engagement. Now, on the second example, Porsche used a microsite in their campaign to launch the new Porsche 911. The microsite uses dramatic music, big images, and divides into different chapters that highlight the features and benefits of this newly launched model of Porsche at the time of the launch. And microsites, banner ads, pop-ups, and online videos are all part of something we call rich media. Now, rich media is a big area of growth, especially with YouTube channels. We are seeing them more often on YouTube travel channels, cooking, gaming, and car review channels. With a different approach in using rich media, some companies offer little video ads. These are professionally prepared clips or short videos relevant to what they sell. So, for example, B&Q, which is a home improvement retailing company in the UK, have videos on DIY, do-it-yourself. Things like how to plaster a wall or how to lay paving. And at first glance, these are educational, but they are also designed in a way to encourage you and to stimulate you to do the work yourself. And especially, they make the work look so easy in these videos. So you watch a short clip and then you think, hey, I can do it myself. Now, where to get the material? B&Q, of course, you're already on their website with access to tools and the materials that you need to do the job yourself. So rich media, in a way, act as a subtle CTA or call to action. We call call to action CTA for short in marketing. This is to encourage viewers to take an action, maybe leave a comment, visit a specific page, like a page, and hopefully make a purchase at some point in time. Now, another big area in terms of digital advertising is mobile advertising. This is the fastest and biggest growing area now, and mobile ad spending in the UK is expected to grow even further. Back in 2020, smartphone advertising spending in the United Kingdom amounted to something around £9.75 billion. And according to the data, nearly 60% of the total digital ad spend in the country. And UK had the highest per capita digital ad spending in Europe during that year as well. One thing to note here is that advertising via text messages on mobile phones has declined, is kind of diminishing, if you like, with the introduction of GDPR regulation and privacy laws in Europe. Instead, there are more advertisements embedded into the application, into mobile games that we all used to play and we are playing this day and age. However, if you're going down the route of mobile advertising, and if you're considering this for your company, you have to ask yourself, if the app and the game fit the company's image and the company's strategy, you may have to make drastic changes, tough decision in moving ad spending from traditional media. But based on the figures that we see on this slide, there are high hopes, and it may be worth your while to consider this channel. And going back to the fun facts we saw earlier about the email advertising, you might remember that for every £1 spent in email marketing and advertising, you can expect a healthy £42 return in sales. This is why nowadays, every single one of us receive advertising emails, or as we call them, junk emails. They go to our spam folders. These emails are from the companies that you probably worked with in the past, or shop from them at some point, or merely inquired from. We even get emails from the selected partners of these companies. So if you shop a travel size 50 ml shampoo from Tesco supermarkets, they might pass your details to travel companies to get in touch with you because they anticipate you are going on a travel, you are going on a trip. Of course, there is GDPR regulation, and this happens only if you give consent to sharing of your data, of your details. And again, this method can be questioned slightly, and also the technology has become handy and automatically your mailbox could spot such emails and send those communications to your spam folder. So it is kind of risky. However, if you imagine the number of shoppers in the UK and around the world, and if only 1% of those respond positively to this email advertising and email marketing campaigns, that would be enough to invest in that media, especially that it is indeed a really cheap marketing method. Now, finally, there are blogs that are usually start small with an individual sharing their opinion, and sometimes they're successful in gaining followers for various reasons. This could be the interesting content they upload, competition and giveaway they run from time to time, or sheer luck for some people. They gain followers for unknown reasons. And not before long, they gain sponsorship from big brands, from famous brands. These brands might come forward with financial offers to place their ad on these blogs, or for the new content to be produced with a positive view on the brand and its offering. Sometimes they offer freebies to be reviewed by the blogger himself or herself, and they may offer free travel, training, etc., etc. Many sort of benefits to these bloggers. So marketeers can use blogs for advertising purposes in two different ways: by developing their own blogs, or by posting ads on blogs that are relevant to their target audience. Here you see the list of a screen image or a partial image of the top 100 bloggers and blogs, just to show you the extent of income from blogging and the importance of it. At the time I was taking this shot, on the top of the list, you see a young girl. This blog belongs to a young girl who lives in Brighton and who managed to purchase a £1.7 million mansion in Brighton from the money she and her boyfriend raised from blogging. There's also podcasts. They also offer similar sort of benefits to blogs, but the main difference is that blogs use imagery and text as a medium to communicate with the target audience, whereas with the podcast, we are faced with verbal communication as a medium. Now, to sum up, let's look at the benefits and burdens of online advertising through these channels. First and most important aspect of from the firm point of view is cost saving and cost efficiency. Cost of running and maintaining a website is a fraction of traditional method of advertising. And we know that the more you save on your costs, the more benefits margin you will end up with. So it's really important for companies to be able to save costs. Online advertising also offered two-way interaction. I used to work for an educational agency, and we could track site visitors at the time of their visit. We could see basically where they are connecting from, what device they are on, and which pages they have been visiting, looking at on our website. And armed with that information, we would approach these visitors on a pop-up live chat and offer them assistance. We also collected feedback through the same feature from consumers. So with online advertising, you get to alter and adjust your content on the go, and you get to change your tactics to match consumer ever-changing preferences, and you can do this almost immediately. Also, by talking to each client, you can individualize the services of your company you're offering to the market when you're dealing with different individuals. And that contrasts very much with mass media advertising, where you generalize your message to suit a kind of mass audience. On the other hand, there are costs, such as user distraction. When you get visitors to your website, they might be looking at other pages as well at the same time. So it's kind of easy to miss the message you're trying to convey to them through your website. Also, we need to be aware of globalization and the ease of access. And it means that consumers no longer have to shop locally. They can purchase the same item from another country at a much lower price, probably. If you have your headquarters in one country and your warehouse, your depot in another country, which is the case with most furniture shops, then you are facing global coordination challenges, such as confirming the order, supply chain issues, and money laundering and currency exchange concerns. You would see that I have placed rapid change both as a positive and negative feature of online advertising. As I said, it's good if you want to adjust your online advertising based on the feedback that you receive and from your interaction with the consumers. But at the same time, there is the issue of clickbait, where some sellers present you with an item online and they send you something completely different in the post, a counterfeit perhaps in the post. So one needs to do a lot of checks before trusting an advert on the web and online advertisement. Okay, I hope you're still with me and I haven't bored you too much. Let's move on to the second part of this lecture, and we consider social media as a channel for our online advertising. But before I do so, it's one of those days that we have lots of sun in the UK. So I just need to draw the curtains and be able to see the screen. Okay, so social media has become an inseparable part of our kind of daily life. It can be accessed on the web, on mobile phones, on smart devices, and it brings technology and social interaction together, if you like. There is a range of different platforms available now, but it is changing, just as the consumer preferences are changing. 5 years ago, everyone used to be on Facebook, but now many have moved away from this platform. Facebook also announced very recently that they are changing the name to Meta. LinkedIn probably is one of the few that kept its integrity, remain professional and relevant. So you see, recruiters looking and advertising various jobs and positions on LinkedIn. Again, the reason we have a range is because consumer needs and consumer preferences are different. But the keyword for me on this slide is interactive, as you see on the second line from the top. Social media provides marketeers with an opportunity to immediately communicate with the target audience during and after a promotional activity. This helps in terms of gauging the success of a marketing activity and evaluating audiences' response and reaction to it, which is kind of gold in terms of marketing. So a question here, what actually makes social media campaigns work? Well, if you can encourage storytelling about your brand on social media, then that may be well received by your consumers. You can even co-produce messages and meanings with consumers on social media, or even get them to generate content for you. This means instead of you having to guess, remember that keyword, anticipate, instead of guessing what your consumers enjoy, what they like, you get them to talk about their interest instead. So you don't have to guess at all at this, in these situations. Let me give you an example. Petline is a pet insurance company in the UK. They started a Facebook competition page a couple of years back, and they offered £1,000 reward. Basically, what they asked from the consumers was to take a selfie from yourself and your pet and post it on this Facebook page that we have set up for the competition. Within a space of 1 week, they received 27,000 entries. People posted pictures. They started conversing with others under each post. They made friends, and they felt they are part of a community with similar interests. So we see Petline has created value, generated a lot of sales from very little investment, and only by engaging its audience in the content production with little effort and a very small price, considering how much they have gained and how much they have benefited from this activity. So from this slide, perhaps the most important point, as far as I am concerned, is that the one in the middle that you see. Step into the real world. People have real emotions and worries, real feelings. And if you can connect the customers, engaging them with demonstrating empathy and understanding their needs correctly, then you can move this media from just being online and blend it with the real world. And then your campaign is more likely to succeed. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples on this. So this is the first one. We know social media offer excellent segmentation and targeting opportunities. So when you advertise on social media, you know to a good extent who will see your ad and which region they are from. You can choose to send an ad to people who live in a specific country through social media. And what you see here is what people in a specific region, one specific region, could see on various objects in real world. And basically the text and images they would see on these physical objects mirror what they see the same people on their social media feed. In addition, there is an element of repetition of content here, which we know can help with reinforcement of the brand image and brand message on consumer mind. Some of you might remember the Pokemon game, Pokemon Hunt campaign, where you would have to use your phone and hunt for creatures by pointing your camera at different objects, different locations. And this was a good example of successful blended campaign that basically blended virtual world with the reality together. And there are companies who would offer services like this. Chalkboard is one of the companies doing this sort of advertisement for businesses. Basically what they do, they print your advertising and your messages on various objects and different roads, if you like. They use chalk, which shows that they are also kind of environmentally conscious and environmentally friendly. Our final example here is from Daisy. And with this one, audience create a post on Instagram or on Twitter mentioning the hashtag that you see on the screen. And they can go to the shop and show the post that they have created at the counter, and they will receive a free gift from the shop. Here, the marketeer has left it to the consumers to link the virtual platform, use this virtual platform, and link it to the reality to create a blended experience and engage with the brand. We are at the end of the second part of this lecture, and I want to invite you to take part in an activity. So basically, there is a question, and the question is: state 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages of social media. And I want you to use the Padlet. Basically, you can go to the link that you see on the screen. There's also the QR scan code that you can scan using your mobile, and it will take you to the page. So once you're on the page, I want you to just post 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages of social media that you think exist. Do let us know if you're struggling in terms of finding the access. But once you're on the page, and if I may share, this is what you see. So this is the Padlet page. You can start adding comments by clicking on the plus sign under the advantages and disadvantages. I'm going to go back to the slide so you can see the QR code and find the link. Maybe Jenny, you can kindly put the link in the chat box if you have access to it. I'm not sure.
No problem at all. I'll do that.
Thank you. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds, let's say 30 seconds to a minute, to just post your answers to the Padlet and let us know what you think is the advantage of social media, what is the disadvantages of using social media for advertising. You can see 2 people already texting. Don't worry, we're not going to see your names. Excellent. Answers are coming in.
And I just posted the link in the chat box if anyone prefers to use a desktop.
Okay, we got a couple of answers on advantages. Now, see if you can provide us with some disadvantages of social media. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So we can see from the responses, convenience obviously is one of the main benefits of using social media. You can see different ads, interact with them. And from the seller point of view, it's really good. It's really convenient access to the target audience. Analytics is a very good word. And we also have a module at Sussex, Marketing Analytics and Metrics, which we use to teach you how to look at a large set of data and analyze that data. Non-linear feedback, excellent. So can get customer information before, during, and after the product launch. And it would help you to adjust, as we just said, your campaign. Brand awareness, obviously, that you can create lots of awareness on social media. No boundary limitation, that is true. But there are certain boundaries. So you cannot post anything you want on social media. There are laws and regulations that you have to avoid, depending on the platform that you're using. Direct engagement, influence is cost-effective, increases inbound traffic to your website. So on your social media post, you can link it to your website and it would create some sort of traffic to your website. And reaching target audience, really well done. The disadvantage is obviously privacy. And there was a huge case, and it is still ongoing with Facebook, that they are struggling in providing privacy, and people are hesitant in sharing sensitive information on Facebook. For example, authentic information could be challenged by fake news. So based on the feed, based on the post that you look at, for example, on Facebook again, you would be presented with a different sort of social media feed because they find out what is it that you're interested, and they show you just a simple post. There was a huge controversial case a couple of years back in terms of Facebook giving access to political parties in the United States in their presidential campaign. Slow return on investment, that is true. Sometimes you get slow return, but it would depend on your approach. If you think about the example I've given about the pet line insurance company, within 1 week, they've received a lot of return on their investment. Scattered information, yeah, but you don't know where to look at. Information about fast food, which is unhealthy. So they are manipulating and stimulating people with the things that are not really beneficial to them in some occasions. Consumers can access any social media freely. Rights protection. I'm not sure about this comment specifically. Time consuming for planning. Yeah, it can take time for you to plan a creative activity on social media platform, but once you set it there, you can adjust it on the go, you can improve it. There's high competition, of course. Everyone is on social media. Most of the businesses, they advertise, and exposure to competitors. What you say is viewed by your competitors. So you're gonna struggle in terms of finding something that is between yourself and basically your consumers. Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. I'm going to go back to slides. And basically, this is a summary. And when you look at it, the advantages of social media is very much similar to the advantages of online advertising, which we mentioned earlier in this session. I just want to emphasize that depending on the platform usage, we can segment and divide our audience on social media to smaller groups and provide this smaller group with their specific needs. You also see integration, and that means during a marketing campaign, further posts could be created, generated quickly. One of the answers was around the integration. So you can support your campaign by the use of social media. And now let's look at the technique that has been used for a very many years, if you like, in the real world, but only in the last decade or so has been integrated into online platforms and online environments. Viral marketing seeks to spread information about a product, about a service from one person to another person by the use of word of mouth, electronic word of mouth, which is on the web, people talking to each other, sharing via internet, feedback that you leave for a company, social media, text or emails. Literally, any physical or online channel can be used for this purpose. But considering that online channels and media have much stronger reach, they would serve the purpose much better in this case. The goal of viral marketing is to inspire individuals to share a marketing message to friends, family, and other individuals, to create an exponential growth in the number of recipients. So viral marketing generally has an emotional element attached to it. There is no guarantee, but if you put your message on the right channel at the right time and involve the right influencer who can emotionally stimulate individuals, then your message can go viral. You all should remember the Ice Bucket Challenge, where people nominated friends and family for the challenge to create awareness about the disease. So the idea behind this challenge was to create awareness. The challenge was co-funded by two guys named Pat Quinn and, if I'm not mistaken, Pete Freites in 2014. And the campaign raised $2.2 million US, with 2.4 million tagged videos on various social media platforms. So to make sure something goes viral, there are some elements that needs to be included, and you see them on the slides. 1, 2, 3. Law of the few. You need to start with a limited number of individuals, probably social influencers, opinion leaders, opinion makers. These are the people with impact on a society. Then there is the stickiness factor. Sometimes you choose to include an element of shock, element of humor, and the message you're sending out should be simple yet engaging for the audience. It can be even fear. So the ice bucket challenge, I'll leave it to you to decide which one is it. And also the power of context. You need to be truthful. You need to be concrete, not using a complicated language. But at the same time, you need to be aware of the context of the environment. Are you offending anyone in a different culture? So the ice bucket challenge is not offensive in any way. People just throw ice cold water on their head. You are doing something that is relevant. Everyone can get involved. It has a short lifespan, so it lasted for about 6-8 months. But at the same time, it created a kind of awareness, a lot of income, raised a lot of money for the good cause. So with this technique, there is a tipping point where you can be sure that enough people engage with it and pass the message on. So this is also compared to an epidemic where it starts with very few or maybe one person and contaminates many individuals in the population and in a society. So to get something to go viral, you are required to create a buzz around it. This is another concept. Buzz is what you need to get people talking about your campaign or your message. It is widely used by various brands these days, and I'm sure you have had experience of a buzz around the product that you had some sort of interest in purchasing and you were just waiting this product to be launched. It can be a phone, it can be a computer, it can be a game. And in the past, it happened kind of in a very kind of limited space, but with the introduction of digital platforms, you see a huge buzz can be created around an item, a product or a service. Let me give you an example here. So you might have heard about the Red Bull Stratus project. Red Bull projecting themselves, their identity as being an energetic brand. Back in 2012, they ran the supersonic jump project, during which the Australian skydiver named Felix tried to do a free fall from a balloon in the space. So this record attempt was watched live by a total 52 million viewers at the time of the event through a network of 280 digital partners, making it the most watched live stream event in the history. So how did they create a buzz around this event? On the lineup to the project, Red Bull sold Stratus merchandising, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, various items, mugs perhaps. They ran blogs in which they wrote about the event and provided information about the cause and engaging people with some sort of competitions. They had used also other social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook to reach their audience and provide them with the message to create awareness around the event. They also created a mini website that you see here for Supersonic Jump. And this one has a different color scheme. The content is different compared to the main Red Bull site. And they've used all of these channels to create buzz around the event. So if there is a pause, people will be talking about your brand. The challenge is to direct the conversation to be a positive conversation about your brand. However, even with the negative comments, sometimes you end up with negative comments. People don't like your products. We call them haters. You can join this conversation and steer it into the right direction by providing support, by providing reassurance, and maybe sometimes apologizing for your wrongdoings. Now, let us end this part of the session with a short clip that showcases another successful viral marketing campaign by Red Bull. And before we go to the final part of this session, which is the most exciting part of this session. So bear with me while I try to launch this video.
Red Bull gives you wings, don't you know? Since 1987, we all know Red Bull, the functional energy drink consumed by super athletes and students who haven't got their work done. Yes, it's a joke, but that is who Red Bull is marketing to. You, teenagers and young adults. That's why Red Bull knows a thing or two about how to run a viral marketing campaign. In 2015, Red Bull Australia's market research team discovered that 1 in 3 Australians sought an improvement on the flavours of energy drinks which were available to them in the energy drinks market. Bingo! here was an opportunity for Red Bull to introduce a new range of flavours to quench the Aussies' thirst. They named it Summer Editions, a range of flavours with the same functional benefits as Red Bull energy drink, with a new light and summery twist on the classic taste. However, what good would Red Bull Australia's new Summer Editions range do if the drinks couldn't reach their target market of young Australians? So, what did Red Bull do to raise awareness? They went to Instagram. Red Bull Australia's team devised a marketing campaign to announce and promote its Summer Editions range via Instagram. They wanted to create an association between the new products and the Australian summer. So how do they do that? They built their brand and encoded. 1. Red Bull Australia offers consumers teasers of the Summer Editions range before the summer began. They bathed each of their Instagram posts in a yellow filter and accompanied each post with the hashtag this summer. 2. Red Bull Australia revealed the designs of the new Summer Editions cans. The first, tropical flavour, was yellow. 3. Red Bull Australia launched the new Summer Editions range across Australia. Did the campaign work? You bet. Red Bull Australia's Summer Editions campaign resulted in a 10-point increase in top-of-mind awareness amongst consumers, a 9-point increase in favourability ratings amongst consumers, 1.2 million consumers reached through the Summer Editions campaign, an association amongst consumers between Red Bull and hashtag this summer, which was 2 times greater than any of Red Bull's nearest competitors.
And that's it. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. And I really hope you take away something from this taster session. Again, I do apologize for talking for a very long time, but this is the format of the lectures. I'm now open to questions if there is any question, and back to you, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. That was really interesting. We got a few questions here, if you could help to answer. The first one was asked a while ago, so I hope the participants still with us. So the participant asked, how should we realize which one, I assume they mean which kind of like advertising channels or platforms would work better for our products or service?
That's a very good question. And the answer was in the presentation. You always start with your consumers. If you understand the consumer, if you understand the need, the want, if you understand where they spend their time on a daily basis, are they reading newspaper or they are spending time on social media? Are they watching television? If you understand where they spend their time on a daily basis, then you can choose that channel and create a message that is aligned with consumer needs and expectation. And it can grab their attention once they see that message. So it all goes back to consumers and starting with consumers.
Thank you, Sam. I also received a question from Chinese social media platform. It's most relevant to social media campaigns and the marketing. So the audience asked, because now a lot of companies and brands using social media influencers for marketing purpose, and does that mean for marketers, they are more, their skill sets will be shifting to networking side, communication side, instead of content creation side? Well, in this type of like a marketing landscape shift, would this reshape the marketers' sort of skill sets in the future?
I cannot talk for the future, but definitely you need to be skillful in creating a network. As I've said, marketing is a science of human beings, and you need to be able to form an opinion, stand up, speak that opinion, and through that find a strong network. If people see you are doing something wrong, they will be absorbed to you, them being social influencers, opinion leaders, or opinion makers. But at the same time, we have a saying in marketing, we say content is the king. So you might have the best social influencers as part of a campaign, but if the content is relevant, nobody's going to pay attention. Yeah, maybe they pay attention for 3 seconds looking at the social influencers, but they don't get the message that you're trying to send across. So a very important skill for any marketeer is to be able to keep the balance. you need to have a network on one hand, but at the same time, you need to be mindful of the content that you are creating and presenting, providing consumers with. So in the future, that might change. And we're seeing a lot of, different platforms like, Reels on Instagram, not much of a talking going on. And, if you look at an imagery activity and you engage with it. But for now, at this point of time, keeping a balance between the content and social influencers is the main skill that we're looking for when we're looking at successful marketeers.